Hi there, welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Zach Hill here with four-time Pro Tour Top 8 competitor Willy Edel. Willy is playing Jund. Now, Jund was supposed to be dead with no Deathrite Shaman, but for you it seems to be doing just fine. Can you tell us a little bit about this deck?
Yeah, I think the deck that's not even close to be dead. I think the Deathrite Bang, like you need to change the way you see Jund. Okay. You don't have like explosive draws anymore. You don't have Liliana turn 2. You don't have the late game. You don't have a Birds of Paradise for free. You don't have a Lava Monster. You don't have this package that used to be very good. So you need to approach Jund in a different way. You cannot rely on Lilianas anymore, especially when they just unban like both Bitter Blossom, which like enforce the tokens, and the White Nakato. That's very aggressive deck. So Liliana is very alpha right now. And the way I see Jund right now is a more controlled deck. You see Blue, White, Red as a control deck. I think Jund is the real control deck as this format. I think you have more card advantage, you have better cards, and I will show you like all the whole package you have.
All right, so Jund is the real control deck. Bold statement by Willy Edel. But let's see why that is. Now, a lot of this looks familiar. We see Dark Confidant, 4 copies. Tarmogoyf, 4 copies. 3 copies of Scavenging Ooze. We've seen this all before. What we haven't seen before, Courser of Kruphix. Tell us, what does that do to the deck, and how does it sort of replace Deathrite Shaman?
It's not replace Deathrite Shaman, but he plays like a total different role. Sometimes he's only kitchen things, but better. And sometimes he's confident 5 to 7. Sometimes you can just like have a lot of card advantage with fetch lands. So he plays a role like Jund never had before. You used to have Jund, the card advantage used to be confidence and Bloodbraid Elves. Then they banned Bloodbraid Elves. So you have pretty much confidence, and then Rage Duke started playing Chandra. And you have these two, but Chandra was too slow. But sometimes maybe it wasn't working. Then you have like this guy. So when you combine Confidant, Courser, and Chandra, we have a whole package of card advantage, and they interact perfectly well together. Like information from the top, with fetch lands, confidence, Chandra is just so good. And it gets even better, because as I said, they just unbanned like White Nakato. So, and they happen to have a very good card called Anger of the Gods, which is the best remover right now, by far. It's much better than any ref you can play. So, the fact you can play Anger of the Gods and you still have like pretty much all your creatures besides Dark Confidant surviving it and still generating card advantage, generating life and beating is just so strong to not play.
So it's not just about the fact that the cards are good, it's that they play well together and have a lot of synergy.
Very well together. Like I don't think I ever play a Jund that have such interactions between all the cards, like between the card advantage package, between the creature package, between the removal package, they all glue together. So, and Jund always been a deck that you can build to beat whatever you want. You can beat creature decks, like that's what I play, like we see the other cards. You can build to beat control. You can build to beat control with Lilianas, more discards, and everything. But I think for this tournament, I expect a lot of creature decks on the Unbound or White Nakato. So Anger of the Gods is very good. So this version of Jund is to beat creatures.
Makes sense. So let's take a look at some of the other cards in the deck that kind of contribute to that and other plans. Now you've got Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's always going to be in this deck, but the creatures you're talking about killing, of course, not the only matchups you're up against. That's why you've got Inquisition, Kozilek, Thoughtseize, but only one Liliana of the Veil. All these cards good against control decks or Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Liliana.
Yes.
Why is Liliana, which used to be a 4 of that you didn't even think about, relegated to 1 copy?
Well, there used to be 4, but I never think there needs to be 4. For example, Pro Tour Seattle, at top 8, I played 0 Lilianas. Oh, wow. Because I think it was Wolf all the time. Grand Prix Toronto, when I won, I didn't play any Lilianas at all.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it's that essential to the deck. I think that he's very good, for example, in the junk deck when you have Legendary Soul. But aside of that, I think it's pretty mediocre. Like, it's very good against control, but it's pretty bad against mostly aggro. But the fact that we only play 1 is I usually build my decks at 75 cards. Right. And I know in my 75 I want Lilianas. So I have a choice. I can play, for example, 4 Bolts, 3 Inquisition, maybe 4 Thoughtseize, and 0 Lilianas, or I can play 3/3 and 1 Liliana. I choose 1 Liliana because Liliana, even though he's not amazing against aggro, you have an extra punch against aggro while you have a card against control.
Makes sense.
If I play all removals or all cards I can control, I probably, if I draw the wrong part of the deck, I will be screwed. So I used to try to cover all my bases on my 7-5. So when I use my sideboard, I use like, have the perfect 60 for the exactly matchup I'm playing at the moment.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the removal that you were talking about earlier. Now, Willy said what he wanted to do is kill creatures. With 2 Terminates, 3 Abrupt Decays, 1 Maelstrom Pulse, and 3 Anger of the Gods, it seems like you can do that. Now, how did you arrive at this exact batch of removal? Plus, of course, the 4 Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, well, let's start with Terminate.
Okay.
I used to think Terminate was unplayable in Jund, because people used to play with 4 3-drop villages.
Oh, okay.
And I don't see you playing Terminate with 3-drop villages. I've always been advocating Dismember as a better removal. But I think now that I don't play any 3-drop, I play 4 Ravines, Terminate is very good. Abrupt Decay is sort of a catch-all answer to both permanents and kill pretty much any creature, besides maybe Thunderdemaw Hellkite and Primeval Titan. And Maelstrom Pulse is sort of a bad Terminate or a bad Abrupt Decay. So it covers both bases for permanents and creatures.
That's sort of like you were saying with Liliana. Sometimes you want a worse card that's more versatile.
Exactly. You need something like that. For example, I don't have any way to kill a Planeswalker.
Oh, okay.
That's for it.
There it is.
The 3 Angers, my first version of Jund, I start to feel 1 Jund Charm deck. Then I see like it's very good against Affinity, but it's very bad, for example, against Zoo.
Right.
So I swap for 1 Anger and 3 Lilianas. Then I start counting Lilianas for Angers, and I arrive to 3 Angers and only 1 Liliana. And I don't think I use like the full 4. Then when I was registering yesterday, I see like a lot of hexproof cards around. I see Affinity, I see Zoo. So I see a lot of good cards. Anger is good. So that's no reason to do not play 4. If I want like any extra removal on my sideboard, I would like the first card I would need is the 4th Anger.
Makes sense.
It's just so good in the format right now.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the rest of the slots in the main deck. A card that you brought up that Reed Duke popularized, card kind of essential to running Jund as a control deck, Chandra Pyromaster. Now, it's a card a lot of people didn't even know was playable in Standard. Why is it good here?
I think it's much better in Modern than Standard. You have fetch lands. Now you have the Courser. Like that's not many 1 toughness creatures around. But for example, in the big Naya deck, you have a lot of birds.
Right.
In the Bitter Blossom, she just wins the battle against Bitter Blossom all the time. And he kills Vendilion Click, Scion Fiona. And against Bitter Blossom, he's just taking 2 all the time and not doing anything. And what sold me was the interaction with Courser. When I have both, even if you don't have both, all the cards are generating information and card advantage. When you play Liliana and untaps, you pretty much have a personal Holy Mind all the time because only Lightning Bolts exist. Nobody else is playing Maelstrom Pulse at the moment. Right. You don't have, for example, the Detention Sphere in Modern, so they don't have anything. So it's just a creature attacking her. Okay, that's fine. You just boarding out against Zoo.
Like
I can fog for just 4-mana fog. It's bad, I know, but I just take out against like super aggro decks. But against control, she's just amazing. I don't see any, for example, blue cards doing this.
Yep, can't deal with it.
They can't do because they play like a flash deck all instance. Like if I have, for example, a red Jace Architect of Thor, I use. I have Chandra, I use Chandra.
Sure, right. You can't quite play Jace in this deck. Exactly. Okay, let's get through the mana base of the deck. We talked about a lot of these. See, Raging Ravine, you went up to 4 copies, 0 Treetop Village, 5 of the Mirrodin lands. Important to be able to cast your removal early, Thoughtseizes, so on and so forth. Take a look at the next slide. You're bringing up 6 sack lands. Now, these are really important with Courser of Kruphix, right?
Yeah, it's very good. I would like to play more, but at the end, I would take so much damage with my lanes.
Right.
And I can afford to play more dual lanes and filter lanes, which are probably the next slide because it's the best lanes on the decks. And the fact I need double red, I don't need to fetch for Swamping Force anymore.
Yep.
I considered for a while playing a Mountain and an Arimeza, but since all my good duels have red, like Raging Ravine, the Scar lanes, and the filter lanes,
you just have more
I just
red.
didn't need. So you just stick on this and play instead of the usually 8 fetch lanes. I have day 6 and 2 filter lanes.
And that makes sense.
Amazing.
That helps with the double colored spells. All right, quickly, let's get through the rest of these. Obviously, we've got the lands you get with your fetch lands. Take a look at the next slide. You showed us, you said the filter lands, some of the most important lands in the deck, and then basics. All right, now I want to look at your sideboard very quickly. Let's take a look at the sideboard slide. We saw Liliana. Thrun, this is kind of your anti-control package, isn't it?
Yes. Liliana, I use actually 2, but that's fine.
Sorry,
I had 2 Lilianas on the sideboard. The Thrun is the catch-all blue cards, like blue, white, red, and fairies if it is really a deck. Even against the Temple Twin is decent. In mirror match is decent. It's a very good card. Like the extra Thoughtseize, I want a 70 card, but I want a business card. Like all the spells I want to discard costs 4 or more. It's Cryptic Commands, Primeval Titan, Scape Shift.
Sure, so Inquisition doesn't do it.
Inquisition doesn't do anything.
All right, and finally we've got some more ways to kill creatures.
Yeah, more ways of kill creatures.
Seems like.
This one was a concession to Hexproof, and another, and it kills, for example, like if it's a deck, a BW tokens, all the tokens, and the super fast Zoo is very good as well. And the Slaughter Pact is just another removal I want to use.
Yes.
And I need a removal that kills, like, that's cheap to use, and that kills Thundermaw Hellkites. And I don't want like another Terminate, so the Slaughter Pact was very good.
All right, and finally, let's go ahead and close this out with the last few cards. Grafdigger's Cage for Pod and Graveyard decks. Rakdos Charm again for Graveyard, also good against Twin, can blow up an artifact if you need to. And Batterskull to win mid-range fights.
Exactly.
All right, this Willy Edel, again, 4-time Pro Tour top 8 competitor. Let's kick it back to the desk here at Pro Tour Born of the Gods.